Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Pathfinder. We are now in the middle of our tent. We are the Knight Commander of the Crusade, the 5th Crusade, specifically. Let's go talk to Anivia. She walked in. Let's see what she has to say. Anivia sweeps an inquisitive glance over you. So tell me straight, how'd that brawl at the Great Garrison end? I heard the rumors, of course. That's kind of my job, you know, to listen. You've no idea what the Cobblers and Crusaders say about you. Some say that Iomade came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and an honest-to-God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still others say it was just an explosion at an alchemist lab, and I'm the one spreading rumors about your powers. Wait. I see. Yeah, that's part of the rumors. Okay, I wish. But you know, you really have changed since the Great Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you've become kinda... She waves her hand trying to find the word. More charismatic? More dangerous. I have a gut instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander. And by Desna, I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies, and not to us. Or to yourself. So she's a follower of Desna too. Did we know that? Maybe we knew that. I don't know. There's a lot of knowledge in this game. There's a lot of stuffs. Tell me about yourself. I'd be happy to, but there's kind of nothing to tell. What's so interesting about me? Well, where are you from? Nowhere. I was blown in by the wind and found in a cabbage patch. Sorry, that's an old habit of mine. I don't like blabbing about my past. But you saved my skin, so I guess I kind of owe it to you not to clown around, right? I'm from Nadal. It's one of the older surviving countries in Avestan, having been founded during the uncounted years of the Age of the Darkness, of course. And I wouldn't wish my homeland on my worst enemy. You've heard of the place, I'm sure. Ruled by monsters that aren't alive nor dead, and the official religion is the Cult of Zonkuthon. I grew up in a slum, like a weed between the cobblestones. I didn't have a dad, but I had lots of aunts and uncles, my mom's cronies. No prize for guessing the kind of business she was involved in. They gave me a set of lockpicks as soon as I could hold a spoon, and while the other kids were picking their noses, I was picking pockets. When I was 12, the monks of the Silent Shroud came for us. Creepy guys with their mouths sewn shut. They're the guards in Nisrock. Mom gave me to her friends, and we hid in the secret temple of Desna. I never saw Mom again. I lay low in the temple for the next few years, kept my head down. I washed floors, fetched water, listened to sermons. Funny thing, after a while I started liking Desna's teachings, but as soon as I was old enough, I was out of there. I left Nadal and I got as far away as I could. Quite a ragtag group you got here, from nobles to street thieves. You got that right. Only the best for you. What do you do if the knights and nobles fail to save the world? The lowlifes are our only hope. Yeah, how'd you meet Erebeth? I was bumming around Timon a while back, doing this and that. Desna temples sometimes gave me odd jobs. You know, sometimes they needed people with skills like mine. On the surface it was fine, I guess. After Nadal, the freedom of River Kingdom should have seemed like heaven, my chance to sit back and enjoy life, but I wasn't happy. There just wasn't any joy in my new life. I was all alone, and no one cared about me, and I didn't care about anybody either. I struggled to find a reason to drag myself out of bed every morning. Tying a stone around my neck and jumping into the nearest river started looking pretty appealing. One day, I was hired to follow some fellas to the local authorities, or who the local authorities suspected were Rasmuron's spies. I was stupid, I made a rookie mistake, and they caught me. It's like my body had already decided to do what my mind had been fighting, to finally put me out of my misery. Get someone else to kill me, since I didn't have the guts to do it myself. They grabbed me. I thought they'd gut me on the spot, but instead they hogtied me and dragged me off. And just like an animal going to slaughter, my only thought was, let's get this over with. They brought me to their stinking cave, threw me on this altar, and then I realized who it was. Kuthites. From Nadal. They tracked me down after all those years, but I didn't care anymore. Wouldn't even have cared if they'd eaten me or whatever. We all gotta go sometime, right? So I was lying there, staring at those knives pointing at me, when fate rolled the dice and I hit the jackpot. Erebeth. There she was, storming into the cave. Picture it. I'm lying on an altar with all these knife-wielding maniacs around me, and suddenly Erebeth storms in. I thought it was Iomade herself, fierce in her shining armor with her gleaming sword raised. She made quick work of those scumbags, chopped them up just like that. I didn't even have time to blink. She untied me, and then the girl's face lights up as she chuckles. She looked through the papers they had on table, and she started swearing like a sailor. So much for Ioma Day. So how did you two end up in Kinabris? Whatever. After almost becoming a human sacrifice, I knew I never wanted to leave Erebeth's side. Desna knows I fell for her instantly, and I fell hard. My misery was gone. And when Erebeth showed me what was in those papers, proof that the cultists had a nest in her home city, well, I offered to help without a second thought. Anivia smiles warmly. She must have figured I couldn't wait to get my revenge on the cultists, but I didn't give a damn about them. It was her. I'd go anywhere with her, even on a crusade, or into the jaws of a dragon. But I took to life in Canabris like a duck to water. I used to be an outcast wherever I went, but half the crusaders are the same. After all, who'd volunteer to tangle with demons on the edge of the abyss? You gotta be either a goody two-shoes with too much honor and free time, or a misfit with no life out in the normal world with normal people. People come here to run away from their debts, their past, from themselves, so I fit right in. So what's it like living with Erebeth? It's like living. Without her, I wouldn't be. Seriously, if I were alone, I'd definitely be gone by now. Sure, sometimes we argue, can't deny that. Sometimes we bang our fists on the table and yell so loud that the walls shake, but that's all about order business. But at home, well, I'll give you an example. I've kind of always wanted to move out of that broom closet we call a house and into somewhere cozier. It ain't like they can take a vow of poverty at the Eagles Watch. But every month, somehow most of our spare money is spent on Crusader business. Sure, I get mad about it, but it's part of why I love her so much. You know, Erebeth has that thing that matters most for a person. A purpose in life. She's always got a reason for whatever she's doing. Her whole life is a crusade. And I just drifted around, like a leaf in the wind. Until, oh damn, too soon. Like I'm a leaf in the wind. Too soon. Until Desna brought us together. Now she's the meaning of my life. So it really makes no difference if we live in a mansion or under a bush. Well, thank you. Okay. I gotta go now. There's some loot up here, I guess. That's mine? Shit. Okay. Just some random stuff. Alright, I'll take that. I'll take this. The gold powder. I'll take this. Leave all these here, I suppose. Some casual half plate. I could probably just sell that, honestly. It is worth a decent amount. Yeah, sure. I guess I could sell this to our quartermaster. I thought this was the queen stuff at first, but since it's not...
Keep your calm.
Hey, buddy. Where's our, quartermaster? Mysterious elf. Hold on. I saw you talking to the girl hiding... Whoa! She just disappeared. I was going to talk to her afterwards. Who was she and what did she want? I don't know, Commander. She never introduced herself, but I bet she's not part of our army. I know all our soldiers by name and by sight. Wilster frowns gloomily, his cordiality gone in an instant. She was looking for some elf volunteer. Wanted to know which tent he was sleeping in. At first I thought she was a messenger from Mindev. She definitely wasn't one of us. But now I see how it all looks mighty shifty. The quartermaster eyes you with concern. She was some sort of spy then. What the frick? What the frick? What the what? Hold on. Spy? Already? I'm assuming she wanted the storyteller? Alright, there we go. That's all yours. Hey, Chief, want to talk? So, what do you think about my new powers? Woljif pauses to think, rubbing his chin. You mean what you did back there? I have a few ideas. We could send you to Patak's underground arena to fight. Give you a scary name like Swift Sting or something like that. Give you a great cover story. Enemies burn down your house. You're avenging your dead family. The public eats that stuff up. You'll wear a shiny, eye-catching outfit. Or a black one if you like black better. We'll split the prize money, 60-40. 60 for me, of course. You know, raging fights isn't easy. Those people are tough. I've been taking more risks than you. And after we get set up in Patak's, we'll tour different cities. Make some real money. What, you don't like the sound of it? Do you have any other suggestions? I got one more. Have you heard of Rasmuron? It's some land in the River Kingdoms ruled by King Rasmir. A friend of mine used to live in Rasmuron. He got out of there as fast as he could. Long story short, this King Rasmir of theirs is a god. He keeps his people under his heel. They're all terrified of what he might do. He sits on his throne wearing some white mask, giving power to anyone. Come and take power from me, he says, so long as you believe in me. Wolfdrift quickly checks that no one is eavesdropping. But that friend of mine, the one who fled, has a half-sister on his old man's side who's a cook in the castle and a washerwoman who the cook plays cards with in the evenings told her a juicy rumor. Word is, Rasmir isn't a real god at all, and he's got no powers. So here's my point. You do have powers. Pretty scary ones, too. We'll find some shabby little kingdom, I'll start some rumors, you'll show off a few tricks to wow the locals, and that's it. We'll make you a deity. What the fuck? But first, I want you to put it in writing that I'll be your chief advisor. I'm not doing anything just on the nod. I've been there. People promise you mountains of gold, and then when the time comes to it, they're all, get lost, or I'll set the dogs on you. It's an interesting idea, but I need to think about it. Sure thing. Think about it. Just call me if you need me. Okay. Honestly, I want to kind of get, go and do some stuff. I know Horgus probably has a quest for me or something. Horgus Gorm has been expecting you, thumb stuck in his belt. There you are. I've been waiting. As you see, I too have joined the Crusade. I don't know how to swing the sword, but war is costly, and I have money. Besides, my intellect and business sense may prove useful even on the battlefield. Besides, I believe I owe you an apology. The way I behaved was rude, ill-mannered. You are an honest and honorable person. You've clawed your way up from the bottom of society to the title of Knight Commander, and you are friends with King Galfrey herself. Such persistence deserves respect. Horgus tilts his head in a brief acknowledgement of your merits. Please allow me to give you this magic amulet from my humble personal treasury, to mark our future cooperation. So why are you supporting the Crusades now? With all due respect, that's none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism when Canabras was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations. Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I'd wager that Irabeth has no idea whose money she's spending on drinks and supplies. What can you tell me about the Count Darren Arande? The nobles of Canabras should be acquainted with each other, shouldn't they? Well, he's a brilliant young man with a brilliant pedigree. And that story of his, the nobility is the glue that keeps our society together. I suppose that is why demons so often chose their estates as primary targets. Who would notice the demons' bloody massacres if only slaughtered the poor country folk? The Arande families shared the tragic plight of the Gwyrms. Along with many other members of nobility, they fell victim to a treacherous attack during a major celebration taking place at the family estate. I hadn't received an invitation and was slightly insulted by the snub, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The gods saved me from a terrible fate. All the guests died that day from a magical demonic disease. I sympathize with the Count deeply. He had to endure so much, and it's no wonder he keeps himself aloof from me. I think this is due to the fact that Horgus Gwyrm's fate so resembles his own, and we both have to relive those horrible memories whenever we see each other. Why did you hide that Cavalier as your daughter? Didn't I tell you this at the mansion? It's because her mother, Iris, was a... Okay, this is just a recap. Alright. I know there's maybe something more. Did he tell us this? How did she die? Pierces you with a long, heavy stare. I'm not going to tell you about that. Some things ought to remain private. Fair enough. Fair enough. Greetings. The neat smile on Camillea's lips disappears so quickly, you almost wonder if you imagined it. So, you're Horgus' daughter. You discovered my most terrible secret. Father cares so much about the Gwyrm name that he raised me in our mansion, hiding me away from the whole world. I'll always be grateful to my father for everything he's done for me, even if Mendev society disapproves of some of his decisions. Would it be insolent of me to beg you for your discretion? Oh, I think she already said this. Yeah, our little secret. Okay. So, about those powers. People of noble descent grow accustomed to ample opportunity. The powers I received from you are useful, but I see no point in treating them with excessive piety. Okay. 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 Alright. Well, you know, fun times. Fun times. Let's take a look at the journal. Oh, wait, I gotta talk. Wait, who's Hilor? Hilor nods. Oh, this is the recruit guy. You've earned the title of Commander. Canabra still stands thanks to you. Or still stands thanks to you. But you'll have to be doubly on your guard. Your Eminence places a target on your back. There are assassins about. Killing a high-ranking Crusader would bring a demon far more prestige than killing a common soldier. Not long ago, I stymied a few of the Spinners of Nightmare's attempts on the lives of influential Crusaders. So I know what I'm talking about. Do you know anything about a Pathfinder named Finian Dismar? Let me think. Dismar. I've definitely heard the name before. Of course you have. I'm a Pathfinder too. So now you are the commander in these lands? What about Lady Ori? When I left for the wound, she had just taken up the position. Hilmore examines the talking weapon and chuckles sadly. I'm afraid Ori perished during the Third Crusade. Yes, now I remember. Finian Dismar went missing in the wound at the end of the Second Crusade. His name had been on the list of the fallen for a while. Here I am, alive and well. Write it in your list that I'm back, and soon I'll file a detailed report about everything that happened to me. Finian's voice is full of joy. I knew it was a misunderstanding, but now everything will return to normal. I need to write to my folks. They probably think I'm dead too. Hilor shakes his head sadly. Poor lad. But such is the fate of a Pathfinder. We face the unknown, but sometimes the unknown wins, and our mind cannot take it. Damn. What about this confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares? It's a long story. Telling you everything would take 2 days. Which part do you want to know? We'll talk about it later. I need to get going. Okay, so where's that one guy? Yeah, Hawkblade. We need to go talk to Hawkblade. Okay.
I will guide.
Commander. A tall man with piercing yellow-green eyes gives you a brief nod. Let me personally congratulate you on your new title and thank you for your time in advance. I am Leoter Hawkblade, an Inquisitor of the Church of Iomedae and bringer of light. I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter involving one of your companions, young Count Darren Arenday. Okay. I ask you to assist the Church of Iomedae in an investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the Crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I'm calling upon you. The Inquisitor's open face instantly reveals his feelings. He frowns and looks through you, lost in thought for a moment. I suppose that you have already heard about Count Arenday's story. I refer to the tragedy at the Heaven's Edge estate. You're going to investigate this old case again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt the widely shared account of what exactly happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among those sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime ago. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carried the spirit of old Mendev before the World Wound. And yet on that day, it turned into a labyrinthine house of horrors, like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the digression. I wanted to tell you about my suspicions. Everything about the incident seemed odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with a newfound talent for divine magic? Why did nobody send to Canabras for help, even though the agony spanned many hours? We found the demons dead, with their heads cut off, when we got into the estate. How were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present at the estate, who are said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to penetrate the Holy Warrior's defenses, why has this never been repeated since the tragedy at Heaven's Edge? You are the only person who can help me here, Commander, because the only living witness of those events is currently serving in your army. Your army's route will take you near the very site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with potent magic throughout all these years, and only the Count has the power to break that seal. He is unlikely to invite an Inquisitor inside, and in any case, he won't like me sniffing around his family's seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, he will be obliged to fulfill it, and I will simply follow you as one of your attendants. There are 100 ways, 1,000 paths, and a myriad loopholes in humans' lives that the forces of evil can use to their advantage. I am not sure which one of those led the demons to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple raid. The simple raid the kind Crusaders face every day. That incident involved a significantly more powerful entity, and that is why I'm asking for your help. We cannot be sure that such a tragedy will not happen again until we uncover the truth. Excuse me. Well, what do you expect to find now? I was a young and inexperienced Inquisitor when I first visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for that. Leotar makes a vague gesture pointing at his scars. My arsenal includes many spells and techniques dedicated to gathering information about people and events. Almost all of them require me to be physically present in the place where the event in question happened. That is why I must return to Heaven's Edge. Why can't you do it yourself? The estate is abandoned and sealed with the powerful containment enchantments that only the Count himself can lift. This is not the main reason, however. The main reason is that Count Arende is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into his house even if I found a way to bypass the spells. This is a serious matter. A matter that threatens the reputation of the entire Church of Iomedae, and my organization in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade, and are still dealing with the consequences. Yeah, let me tell you about your leader, Halrun. Let's talk about that guy. Your presence will give my investigation the necessary legitimacy, Commander. But there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring an independent third-party investigator to the case. Someone independent, but well-respected, and you fit this role perfectly. So you suspect that Darien is hiding something. Or Darren. That he is to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions so that it doesn't affect the investigation. There is a saying among my colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice, and prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that Count Arende wasn't suffering from demonic possession, the most common malaise in our country at the time. Prelate Halrun himself examined the boy right after the tragedy, and he didn't sense anything awry with him. I'll help. What do you need me to do? The Otar bows his head to you with exceptional reverence. Thank you, Commander. Now I ask you to speak to the Count and tell him that you wish to see at Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I will join your escort when it's time to travel to the estate. When we get there, I will also require your help during the investigation. You will have to follow me, observing my actions as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I will remain here a while. Tell me more about yourself. I am Ulfin by birth, but I have lived in Mindev for most of my life, dedicating myself to the service of the Inheritor. My warrior brethren mostly worship Gorum, but I've never been eager to fight for the sake of battle alone. I was a good fighter in my early youth, and could easily best most of my peers, but I didn't enjoy showing off my skills. Victory is bland on its own. Purpose adds flavor to war. I can't say that I have always been a faithful sword of Iomedae. Back in my mercenary days, fate brought me to the borders of Mindev, where I spent quite a long time among the Crusaders. Fighting shoulder to shoulder with my righteous comrades in arms and watching demons commit their atrocities eventually led me to something I had been seeking my whole life. Purpose and faith. That is how I found my calling. Even though it may be hard at times, I've never regretted my decision. So are you one of Prelate Halrun's followers? The Ultra Faces freezes for a moment, but he nods. Yes, of course. And what is your opinion on his atrocities? Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to their confessor, not to some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help, and that imposes certain obligations upon me. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by Prelate Halrun's side to learn how to keep him from going over the line. He was an extraordinary man, the vengeful sword of our goddess in human form. He was fighting in the vanguard, fearlessly taking down demons, exposing the cultist plots all by himself. He had served the Inquisition twice as long as I have, and eventually his own paranoia and monumental sense of responsibility eroded his mind. May Omade guard his soul. So he knows. And he knows that Hallrun went too far. Okay, well that's good to know. Journals! Alright, what do we got? According to... Oh, right. We still need... Okay, so that's Kalesa. That I don't think can be done. Banner of the Citadel. Between the two cities there are miles and miles of lands made by the claws of the abyss. How many of those you set out to reach destination alive? Okay. We did all that. Talked to the queen. Talindav's Skell sheds some light on the fate of the Protector, but remains unknown. We gotta go to the Nameless Ruins. We gotta go to the abandoned Houndheart Camp. Heaven's Edge stuff. The young cleric wants to discuss something important. It might be a good idea to hear what he has to say. Okay, we'll talk to Sociel. A band of cultists who wait. Laymen believe that a military commander's success is built on their intellect, insight, and personal courage. However, all these qualities are useless if the leader lacks that one that matters the most. Unshakable authority among the rank and file, ensuring that they follow orders quickly and without question. The commander assumed control of the Crusaders' army only recently, and he will have to quickly master the art of managing a military host. The commander's early successes or failures on his new post will determine whether the soldiers trust his leadership or lose faith in him. So a band of cultists who participated in the attack on Canabres is retreating in the direction of Dresden. The first task of the commander's army is to capture and eliminate them so that they cannot warn the demons. And we also have to find the lost relic of the Crusaders. According to the Chronicles, one of the Crusaders' relics was lost in the lands the commander's army is about to pass through. Okay. Exploring the right bank of the West Selen. Alright. So, Solius? Where is he? Oh, he's right over here.
Focus on the goal.
Sociel.
Hello again. I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
A young cleric stands before an easel, his brush hovering over the canvas without touching it. Instead of painting, the young man absent-mindedly gazes at the sky of Canabres, which is still streaked with towering plumes of black smoke. Finally, he notices you and smiles.
It's a pity I wasn't there at the Grey Garrison to witness your feats of strength with my own eyes. The flash, however, could be seen miles and miles away. Some people were frightened of it, thinking that the demons had blown up the remains of the keep. I, for one, knew immediately that it was a good sign. The light above the city showed us that there was still hope.
So, who are you?
My name is Sociel Vanek. I am a cleric of Shaylin, the Eternal Rose and the Goddess of Beauty. Yes, I know that many people would consider me useless in a war. This is not a usual war, though. Just consider our enemy. The Abyss and his demons are the very embodiment of everything evil and ugly in the world. Perhaps a disciple of kindness and beauty might come in handy. I have no doubt that we will win this war, Commander. We just have to. It is our destiny. My role is to help you, and all those standing by your side in this struggle, to survive and flourish. Everyone deserves the chance to find peace and happiness in the world that they are defending so selflessly.
Sure, yeah. What are you painting? The cleric's eyes linger mournfully on the canvas. The unfinished painting depicts a temple crowned with a rainbow-tailed bird, the symbol of Shaylin. 5 people dressed in robes stand before the temple, men and women, young and old. They all gaze back at you with radiant happiness and joy in their serene eyes.
My brothers and sisters in faith. They sent me for help, and then they saved my life, Commander. If the Prioress hadn't ordered me to escape the city and seek help, I would have died right along with them. Instead, I met Queen Galfrey on her way to Nerosian, and hurriedly returned to Canabres, only to find my friends dead on the steps of our desecrated temple. I want to draw them the way they live on in my memory. Wise, beautiful, and loyal to their goddess and their city to the very end.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I will never forget that I owe them my life. Every minute of it, every breath that I take, is a gift they gave me. Now it's my duty to make sure my friends and tutors did not die in vain. I will honor their sacrifice by making this world a bit more beautiful and kind.
I think we know what made an artist enlist the enemy. He just kind of talked about it. You wanted to discuss something with me.
Yes, I have a personal request. Before we undertake our journey and leave Canabris behind, I would like to visit Martyr Zacharias' cemetery for a funeral. It's not far from here, and it's important. I would like to pay my respects to my friends from the Temple of Shaylin who died defending the city. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would like you to come with me to honor their memory. Their friends and family will be at the funeral, and perhaps the commander's personal presence will bring them comfort.
I can do that.
I know that you are burdened by many cares right now, so I understand if you can't find the time. But if you could, I would be sincerely grateful.
It was nice meeting you, but now I have to
You
go.
must be rather busy indeed. Leading a crusade all by yourself is no joke. I still believe that you are up to the task. This war has been raging for 100 years, but you've given us a chance at victory.
Okay. Oh, who are we gonna take? Who are we gonna take? Oh yeah, well yeah, he is right there. Okay, so he is a companion. Cleric. Wait. Oh yeah, I guess you're our first cleric because she's a spirit hunter and he's an oracle. Okay, an actual just yo, I'm a cleric. That's it. Oh, I forgot about this. Whenever the wearer of this amulet uses a hex, the DC of the saving throw against it is increased by 1. For Camellia. But she can't wear it because of this. So I guess Ember. Then. Okay. Well, let's take a look at Solziel. God, I really love this bro. I love this armor. This whole look. It's really cool. Armor class 16. Well, we can definitely get you some armor. Character. A kind man's war. What is this soft, kind man doing in a war? It is easier to imagine him harvesting ripe grapes than killing enemies. But he came here, and his hands are scarlet, not with berry juice, but with the blood of slain enemies and fallen friends. This servant of the goddess of beauty gives all of himself to his comrades, trying to protect as many lives as he can. But who will protect him? Abilities. Weapon proficiency, glaive. Ah, probably why he has a glaive. Did I sell my glaive? My magical glaive? I don't know if I did. Weapon proficiency, glaive. Channel positive energy. A good cleric can channel stored spell energy into healing spells. So any spell... Spontaneous healing is pretty good because that means we don't have to... Like, if you go to Spellbook, we don't have to actually have any cure spells in these slots because all of these slots can be changed into cure spells on the spot, is what spontaneous healing does. So unlike like Camellia, oh god, I gotta update everyone's spellbook. So unlike Camellia, where like we have her with a couple of cure moderate wounds, for Soziel we can do things like this, and all these can become cure major or cure serious wounds on the spot. So it's pretty neat. Clerics are pretty good at, doing cleric stuff. Good domain and luck domain. An acolyte, so they got persuasion and lore religion. Medium armor focus. Ah, so AC increases by 1 with medium armor. So we need to try and keep him in those. Touch of good. You can touch a creature as a standard action, granting a sacred bonus on those things, equal to half your level in the class that gave you access to this domain for 1 round. Interesting. So +3 right now. And this is a standard action, though. Okay. Wonder why it has a difficulty class. Bit of luck. You can touch a willing creature as a standard action, giving it a bit of luck. For the next round, anytime the target rolls a d20, he may roll twice and take the more favorable result. Yeah, that's definitely not bad. Divine Fortune. At 8th level, you can call on your deity to give you a natural luck. He is not 8th level. The ability functions like Bit of Luck, but it affects you and lasts for a number of rounds equal to half your level in the class it gave you. So this acts like this, but for himself instead of someone else. But it says for at 8th level, he is level 6. Huh. That is interesting that he has that already then. Okay. Feats. Armor proficiency, simple weapon proficiency, shield proficiency. Selective channeling, very good, very good. Extra channeling, okay. And then toughness, so he has more hit points. Okay. So no martial weapon proficiency, because clerics don't get that by default. But he does have a glaive because of his goddess. Okay. And that's a reach weapon, right? Okay. 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 That's pretty good. That's pretty good. +4 base attack bonus, giving him a +7. We can change that. Biography. And he is neutral good. That's a cool picture. Look at the full picture there. Cool. Me as a spellcaster, even though I'm not a spellcaster. All these are really cool pictures. Really, really cool. Look at L'Ariel. He didn't even get a full picture. Poor L'Ariel. Alright. Oh, there's one more person. Actually, here's the blacksmith. Cold iron masterwork. Okay, so this guy sells some cold iron stuff, specifically. Cold iron masterwork spiked heavy shield. Okay. Masterwork spiked light shield. They just got everything here. Alright. But, I know, like, I want to go out there and do some stuff, but we also gotta talk to Nura. There you are. Knight Commander, how can I help? There's so much I can do, just ask. Nura looks at you with eyes filled with enthusiasm. She's holding a notebook and a traveler's inkwell. Well, you've probably heard about the wound I have, the one that sometimes, opens on my chest. Can you perhaps tell me if it's some kind of demonic curse? Yes, indeed, I have been told of your affliction. Nura appears at the center of your chest. Can you will the wound to open? No? That's a shame. What can you tell me? Well, it's difficult to say. I know of blades that leave never-healing cuts, of poisons that stop wounds from healing. I've heard of witches' curses that are rewarded with eternal wounds, but wounds that seem to reopen and heal over and over? Do you know of any other cases like it? Let's think. In 4671, a Mendevian army corporal had all his bones and cartilage turned to glass. In 4700, a scribe in Canabras had all her skin simply come away like she'd been boiled. And in 4638... Oh! You don't happen to have insects crawling over you? Locusts? No? Rats, perhaps? Too bad. Do you think it's dangerous? I mean, it's most likely is dangerous, but you are under the protection of Iomade, Commander. She granted you mythic power, as they say. Surely the Inheritor would not leave you to face this alone. Have you perhaps noticed that the wound opens at moments when you waver in your faith? Perhaps it is triggered by doubt? Well, tell me about yourself. I could tell you so many amazing things, and you choose the most boring one of all. But alright, about myself then. How'd you come to serve Queen Galfrey? I was a slave for Lord Axelar Tresbot of Isgur, my homeland. Oh, what a man he was. He towered over his fellows like a rock over a garbage heap. A true hero. He bought me as a simple secretary, but he made me learn the history of the world wound. All of it. One volume after another. He hired tutors for me, even sent me to meet prominent historians. He didn't want a simple slave, but a slave with an impeccable education. Lord Tresbot was going on a crusade. He firmly believed that the servants of the good gods were weak, and only a follower of Asmodeus could stand against the demon invasion. He took me along as a secretary, a historian, and, most importantly, he entrusted me with recording his glorious story for future generations. In his crusade, Lord Tresbot performed many brave feats, but even he could not stand against the world wound alone. In his final battle with the demons, when my lord realized he was doomed, his final act was to cover my retreat, so that I could tell the world of his great deeds. Some people have said that what he did was not heroic, just an arrogant moron puffing himself up one last time. But I say curse their tongues. My difficult journey ended in Mendev, where I found my freedom. There I published Lord Tresbot's biography, and, I don't want to boast, but who am I kidding? Of course I do. The book sold in great numbers and made me rather famous for a time. That's what brought me to Queen's attention. She invited me to her court. After all, she was curious about my deceased lord, and she was in great need of an expert on the history of Worldwound. I hope you'll find me as useful as well. That's an interesting story. She was a slave. He covered her retreat to tell the world about his great deeds. But is there a hint of, like, he did care about her? You know, like, she was a slave, but maybe she was also a friend. Maybe not. Who knows? But then she actually did go on to continue his request and actually wrote a book about him. And curses people's tongues when they say bad things about him. Interesting. So you're not just a historian, but a writer too? Will you write a book about my crusade? Why not? As soon as we finish off the demons, I'll get right to it. Just take care that you don't end up like Lord Tresbot. Okay. We'll do that another time. That's fine. Let's get going. Is there anybody I have to talk to for, like... Oh, here, Erebeth. Can you tell me about, like, what we're doing with the crusade? Commander, allow me to say something. Erebeth looks even more serious than usual. Before you, this wasn't a war. It was agony, drawn out over decades. No one believed in victory anymore. When the demons attacked the city, for some it was a relief. At least the end had come. They laid down their weapons and surrendered without a fight. I felt the same thing. But I somehow got through on stubbornness and vague hope that if nobody found Anivia's body, she might by some miracle have survived. And that miracle was you. You returned my beloved to me when I nearly lost all hope of seeing her alive again. Then you went on a suicide mission to the Great Garrison and won the city back for us. You turned a defeat into victory. I know it wasn't easy, but you make everything seem so effortless. You do everything just like that. Like that. The Queen believes in your powers too. But for me, they're just more proof of what I felt that day when I saw Anivia alive, standing next to you. You're the miracle we've been waiting for. You're the one who will finally put an end to this terrible war, and in spite of everything, deliver us the victory we so desperately need. With you, I'm sure this crusade will achieve what the others could not. Oh, right. I found a scabbard with your family name on it in the Great Garrison. Erebeth looks down. This scabbard held the Solemn Hour, my family sword. My father once fought with it, and I took it when I left home to become a paladin. Alas, it was not stolen. I parted with my heirloom willingly to help someone dear to me. Anivia needed expensive healing, and having no other way to procure the money, I pawned my father's sword. I think he would have understood. I'm sure he would have given up everything to help the family. I hoped to redeem the Solemn Hour eventually, but there was never enough money, and soon the sword disappeared from pawnshop altogether. I have no idea who took it. Seems like I'll have to part with my father's sword forever. Is Anivia sick? You'll forgive me if I don't go into detail. It is a private matter. Suffice to say, everything is fine now. The treatment was costly, but it was worth it. How dare you? It is so foolish to part with your weapon in the middle of a war. It's illogical. I can see that you truly love her. A delicate blush appears on Erebeth's cheeks. She nods silently. Erebeth lovingly traces the name imprinted in silver on the scabbard's leather. My parents were loyal servants, yet it wasn't enough to earn them a title or a coat of arms. Still, however humble our name might be, it is worth something. I don't know if I'll ever see Solemn Hour again, but at least I have its scabbard back. Thank you. You're welcome. Also, we need soldiers? Erebeth frowns. When we began the march on Dresden, we chose speed over our numbers. If I order more volunteers to be recruited, they simply won't arrive in time. We could pay mages to deliver the troops to the camp, except I doubt that our army's coffers could afford it. If you can spare 7,500 gold coins, I will see to our reinforcements. Here you go. You have your orders. Consider it done. Allow me to ask a few personal questions. Frowning a bit, Erebeth nods. Please, but I must warn you, there are some things I don't have the right to discuss. How did you become a paladin? A bitter smile appears in the half-orc's face. So much for us leaving this camp this episode, I guess. But hey, you know, gotta talk to people. I don't much like to remember it, believe it or not. The story of how I became a paladin is also a story of how I failed to become a knight. My parents were crusaders. May their souls stand together in Iomede's celestial army. When I was born, they retired from the war and started preparing me to continue their legacy. But my father was an orc. You'd be pressed to find a calmer, wiser, more pious servant of the goddess than he. But still, all his life he was dogged by sideways looks and whispers. When I grew older and it was time for me to serve, I decided anywhere but Canabras. That was where my father had served loyally, and his only reward had been injustice. Besides, the witch hunters, led by the honorable Praelet Hallrune, stalked the city with a heavy hand. Who knows what they'd have done to a strange girl with green skin. Instead, I went to... A smirk that looks more like a painful grimace crosses her face. You can laugh if you want, but I was young and foolish. I chose Lastwall of all places. You can imagine how well I was accepted in a country that's been battling the orcs of Belkazin since its foundation. Oh shit. That probably didn't go great. There were many like me. There were many there like me, but we were all treated as second-class citizens. To the locals, my green skin was worse than leper scabs. Even my brothers in faith kept their distance. I took my vows, and the goddess granted me the powers of a paladin. But even then, not a single order would accept me into their ranks. I spent another 6 months knocking on doors before I realized the simple truth. I serve Iomade, not these people. I don't have to prostrate myself before them. So I left. As a paladin, but not a knight. In your human form, there's nothing about you that stands out. But in your fox form, do you often have to hide your true nature? I won't lie, I can't even imagine what your life must be like. I embrace being a fox boy. So how did you come to join a knightly order? I left Lastwall and went traveling. The goddess guided me, and my path led me to where atrocities were happening. I often fought in exchange for gold, but never for unworthy aims, of course. I wandered the river kingdoms for a few years, killing monsters and tracking down criminals. Sometimes I thought I was just wasting time, that my true place was in Canabras. But I pushed those thoughts away. I didn't even want to think about going back. But in the end, divine providence has brought me to my senses. It happened in Timon. I was tracking a gang of bandits which my employer suspected was a cover for Rasmuron spies. I managed to find their lair, but inside I found something far more dangerous than spies. An unholy temple to Zonkuthon. When I broke in there, the cultists were about to sacrifice someone. The person who was destined to become my wife. Anivia. But that's another story. After I cut down the cultists, I examined their papers and couldn't believe my eyes. A network of evil cults had spread through all of Avestan, including Mindev. Worse, the documents clearly showed that their allies, the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth, had infested my native Canabras, and were even among the ranks of the Paladins. After that, delaying my homecoming would be a tantamount to desertion. Luckily, I was no longer alone. Anivia was as eager to destroy the cultists as I was. Anivia and I hurried to Canabras. We couldn't trust anyone. The papers indicated that the cultists had infiltrated everything. Luckily, I had some experience in investigating, and my beloved, the half-orc smiles warmly, she knew her way around working locks, tailing people, and trading information with the city's bottom feeders. Soon, we defeated, alas, not the whole Hydra, but a few of its heads. Do you know who turned out to be the leader of the cultists? The commander of the Eagle Watch. They had their own little D&D adventure. Can you imagine? While Praelet Hallrune was chasing witches through the city, the enemy had infiltrated the very order responsible for internal security. The scandal reached the ears of the Queen. At first, she planned to disband the order in disgrace. But then she offered its command to me, and put its salvation in my hands. Of course, there was one small catch. I wasn't a knight, but I was made commander just the same, skipping the usual progression through the ranks. I can't imagine the followers of Zonkuthon in alliance with demon worshippers. Shouldn't they hate each other? They should, but Baphomet's minions are masters of deception. They manipulate Zonkuthon's butchers as eagerly as Iomede's knights. The cultists from the unholy temple didn't know the true face of their associates in Canabras. We ourselves learned the truth much later, after getting to the bottom of their nest. Okay, thank you. I'll say that later. Okay. How do we get out of here? Alright. Well, I guess this is a good place to end this episode, everybody. And, wait, who the... Oh, Elan, yes. Do you have anything else to say? Okay. He's reading a paper and he's happy about the paper. Alright. So next episode, everybody, we will leave the camp and go do some stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Take care!